When he opened his eyes, everything was white, floor, walls, ceiling. The cold, sterile air bit into his skin. He tried to sit up, but straps across his chest, wrists, and ankles held him down. Panic rose. His name was Ethan Cole, former Special Ops. He hadn't felt fear in years, but this wasn't combat. This was captivity. A face appeared above him, framed by a mask and sterile green goggles. The voice was muffled but calm. "Welcome back, Captain Cole. Or should I say, the original." He blinked, confused. "What? Who are you?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he turned and walked away, speaking into a tablet. A glass panel slid open on the far wall, revealing a corridor lined with soldiers. But they weren't just any soldiers. They looked exactly like him. Every one of them. "Jesus Christ," Ethan muttered, yanking at his restraints. The realization settled like concrete in his gut. Those were clones of him. The next few hours were a blur. Needles, tests, scanners, more whispers. Terms like genetic stability, neurological syncing, and command hierarchy. He pieced it together bit by bit. He had been missing for 3 years. Everyone thought he was dead. But the truth was worse. A rogue scientific faction, ex-military contractors and disavowed bioengineers, had abducted him and turned his DNA into the blueprint for a new kind of soldier. They called it Project Echo. Ethan was the alpha, the source. His combat experience, instincts, muscle memory, they'd replicated it all. But these weren't mindless drones. They had slight variances, specialized units tailored for infiltration, demolition, sniping, and assassination. They didn't need training. They were born ready, and they were being deployed. Ethan managed to escape during a transport transfer. The clones were being moved to a new facility, and the chaos gave him the opening. He killed 2 guards, stole a weapon, and vanished into the night. But his freedom came with a burden. He now carried the codes embedded in his nervous system that could either shut down the clones or accelerate them. He needed help, someone he could trust. He made his way to the only person who might still believe him, Dr. Talia Reyes, a former geneticist for the government who once tried to warn the public about illegal cloning programs before being discredited and silenced. She didn't scream when she saw him. She just stared. "You're supposed to be dead." "I was. Technically." She let him in, scanning his vitals, testing his blood. Her fingers trembled as she held a strand of his hair under a scope. "They really did it," she whispered. "They didn't just copy your genes. They mapped your consciousness, the way you think. That's why it worked." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Then help me undo it." It wasn't easy. Tracking the clones meant hacking into old military satellites and hidden frequencies. They discovered the faction's plan: deploy the clones across conflict zones worldwide, tip the balance in wars, sell victories to the highest bidder. Private army with no loyalties, no oversight, and no off-switch, unless Ethan got to the core transmitter buried in the Nevada desert. The journey was a bloodbath. Clone teams were already in the field. Ethan ran into one in Kansas, a 4-man squad executing a politician. When he confronted them, he realized how deeply disturbing this war was going to be. They anticipated his every move, dodged his attacks, countered his strategies. It was like fighting himself. One of the clones looked him dead in the eye before dying and whispered, "You can't stop evolution." The words echoed in his head as he limped away, injured but alive. Talia modified a neural jammer, something crude but effective. It could disrupt the synchronization temporarily, giving Ethan a window, but only once. After that, the clone's AI adaptation would block further interference. They reached the transmitter facility just as the first wave of global deployment was about to begin. Ethan broke in using old clearance codes embedded in his DNA. Alarms blared. The clones were already there, guarding their core. Then came Alpha 1. He was taller, leaner, with a scar over one eye. The leader of the Echoes. "You are obsolete," Alpha 1 said. "You fear what we've become because you fear your own potential." Ethan didn't answer. He launched into the fight. Every punch, every block, every dodge, it was mirrored. Blow for blow. A war of instincts. "I'm not afraid," Ethan snarled, slamming his elbow into Alpha 1's throat. "I'm just human. That's what makes me better." The neural jammer pulsed. The clones staggered, glitching. He reached the console and slammed the shutdown sequence. His hand hovered over the final prompt. "Are you sure?" the screen asked. He hesitated. Would this kill them all? Could they feel pain? Regret? Alpha 1 coughed, blood dripping from his mouth. "They will never forgive you for this. You are murdering your own evolution." Ethan closed his eyes and pressed the button. The lights went out. Every clone collapsed. The silence that followed was immense. Talia helped him outside. Drones hovered overhead, flashing government insignias. Reinforcements had arrived too late, but just in time to witness the aftermath. In the debrief weeks later, the officials had no words. The world never knew the full truth. The entire incident was classified as a rogue AI experiment gone wrong. Ethan disappeared again, this time by choice. He didn't want medals or apologies. He only wanted peace. But sometimes in the mirror he would pause, stare too long, and wonder, had he killed them all? Or were some still out there, evolving, watching, waiting?